shit was so funny. All right, it is Rick Kamla. It is Aaron Bruski welcoming you to a new edition of the Fantasy NBA Today. Brew. We're in it right now. We are in the weeds of the fantasy basketball playoffs. I don't bring it up for any sort of personal battles that we might have had. I don't, Brew. This is where we are in the fantasy basketball season. In Yahoo leagues, and in a lot of leagues, the quarterfinals are starting right now. In deeper, broader leagues, Brew, obviously the playoffs have been going on for a couple of weeks, possibly at this point. But here we are, dude. It's ring time, man.
It is ring time, but you just want to get it off your chest. You can just go for it if you'd like.
I don't gloat. I try to be humble and lie in the weeds over here. You and I did have a very notable battle last week in 30 deep, and I feel bad, dude.
Hey, I think
it sucks that we had to play against each other.
Well, it does suck that we had to play, and I didn't have Daniel Gafford, and I didn't have Amin Thompson. You know, with those two dudes, things might have been different. Oh, De'Aaron Fox decided it was time to check out.
Died midweek, yeah.
But hey, your team is dynamite. Even with those three players, I would have been in a pickle with your team. The fact that in the first 3-4 days that I hung in, I was actually proud of that. You know, and then I don't know, Foxy. You know, you got this surgery scheduled. You know, if you had it scheduled for like 2 months, it feels like why not just play 2 extra games for me? No,
I didn't like. I mean, it's like I was mad at Draymond for the cat stuff. Like kind of mad. I wasn't mad, but I just thought it was tanky. I mean, what the surgery and the recovery on that's a 4 to 6 week thing, bro. You know that the metacarpals, the hand stuff, the finger stuff. It's a 6 week thing tops. You don't need all off season to recover from that. So I thought he should have played it out.
Hey, and on top of that, you know, leadership's been an issue for him, and this is an opportunity for him to get in there with that squad and establish some leadership. And now he's going to start from scratch. And I know they talk all summer, and then they work out all summer. So maybe that's a little bit oversold, but you know, the fact that he just kind of took off, whatever. Not great, but whatever. Tank it.
Yeah, you had a great team and a great season, my friend.
Thank you.
And I just
and you and Doc. I mean, this actually all 4 matchups in 30 deep were really tight and they were really exciting. And then it's you and Doc in one side of the semifinal, and then you've got Mike Passador, also of Sports Ethos, up against Matt Smith, a basketball monster. And Matt's a great competitor, but Panda's won 2 times out of 5 seasons being involved. And so he's going for 3-6 in a 30-team industry league. It is crazy. So it's great. Great matchups, very old school 30 deep matchups. It's nice.
Yeah, and so one of our listeners was wondering what was up. We talk about it a lot. Brew does, Doc does, I do. We've been in this league, gosh, I don't know, a generation, Brew. Really the rise and popularization of fantasy basketball in this league has been a big part of it, man. So, yeah, I got Doc this week. Boy, these shows should be interesting. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 combatants, button heads like rams on a mountaintop. But it is Cam, it is Doc. That is tonight at midnight. Right now, it is Rick Kamla and the legendary Aaron Bruski. We have Andre Lemouche as well with us. And before we tip things off, a word from our sponsor around madness time. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds and everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Brew, let's dive into our weekend look back with some of the must-add guys. Who you got?
This was a lot of fun this weekend. I mean, getting ready for all these high stakes finishes, got a lot of championship runs I'm making right now and high stakes. So we're covering the entire league and there's a ton of action out there. I think the one that was most interesting to me was in Toronto, because not only did you have Orlando Robinson on your 30-deep team beating up on me all week, but he's sort of slid underneath the radar a little bit and then continuing to get his 10 days and presumably with the team for the rest of the season, he is going to be on their radar all year, for the rest of the year. Jakob Poeltl, he's on his way out. how many games he plays out of the 10, 12, 13, 14, how many games they have left. I put the over-under probably at about like 3 or 4. That means Orlando Robinson's going to sit there and get run of the yard. He's had 30 minutes a game over the last week. And then right behind him, Colin Castleton's come in, and he's also gotten 30 minutes per game over the last week. And he's just a fun basketball player. I mean, he's like all arms and legs, but he's also large, and he's got a little bit of versatility to his game, but he's all over the place. This dude had 10 rebounds in 3 minutes last night. I was looking at the box score, like, what is this? And I hope he slows down so he doesn't cost so much during the free agent acquisition budget deadline. And then 8 of them were offensive in 3 minutes. So it was crazy to watch him go. Now, both of these guys are maybe topping out at late round value the rest of the way because of various deficiencies that they have. But I mean, when you're talking about 30 minutes or so on a team that's definitely tanking, or at least trying to tank, and the potential there, Robinson's getting 15.5 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, just under a block, just under a 3 over the last 4 games. Castleton, over his last 4 games, 9 points, 10.5 boards, and 2.3 assists. So it's weird. It's fun. It's Toronto. I'll take it. And you're on mute. You can win in 30 deep, but you can't keep your mic open.
Oh my gosh. But you cracked me up right there. Brew, my boy Brew got away with words, man. What I liked was I was kind of worried about Orlando Robinson a little bit with the Castleton thing. Is he going to be pinching time from my guy? Over the weekend, I forget what day it was, Brew, but Pirtle played. Castleton played and had pretty good minutes, and then Robinson played off the bench and had pretty good minutes. So, and Castleton's more of a 5. So I think they were playing Robinson at some 4 and some 5, splitting that up. I liked that because it keeps him on the floor. I think that's a great call. All right, Brew, let's go back and forth here. I want to hit the people with Keon Johnson. And boy, we've had a lot of Keon Johnson conversations this year, Brew, me and you, me and Doc, you and Doc. All of us. And I've been off, right?
No, I've enjoyed those. I think Keon's done his part. I mean, it hasn't been pretty the whole time, but even when he sucked, we mentioned this, I forget which show, he'd been getting steals and blocks like crazy, when he was getting benched and sidestepped for Cam Thomas. So I like Keon, but, well, he's a Keon.
Yeah, Keon. But now that Cam Thomas is out for the year, which I don't like at all. I have him in a 20-team league. I was psyched to get him back. Oh, here we go. And I already have Ja Morant on that team. I roll. Getting Sabonis back, which is nice. I got PJ Washington back, which is nice. But I'm trying to, like Pasador in 30 deep, I'm trying to get the dynasty this year in Sam Hinkie's letter. And so Cam Thomas being out sucks, but I still got a shot. But none of that matters for our people out here. Keon Johnson on Sunday went 22, 8, and 5 with a steal and 4 threes. On Saturday, 21, 6, and 2, 1 steal, 5 threes. 9 3 balls, Brew, and 43 points with other goodies, okay? To me, he's a must-add pickup right now because I was off of Keon when Cam Thomas came back for all the obvious reasons. I mean, the stats dried up. No Cam Thomas. It's Keon Johnson season once again.
Yeah. And he's gotten all that time to get good at basketball this season. I think this is going to be great for him down the stretch. We even see Tyrese Martin out of Brooklyn making some noise, and Day'Ron Sharp, just kind of a little engine that could, chugging for 17 minutes a game, getting you a steal and a block, maybe 7 and 7 with a couple of assists. So Brooklyn's actually kind of fun now, and I hope it stays that way.
So do you have any other must-add pickups here?
Yeah. I should have taken the baton and run with that. Let's go to Washington because I can't not do it. Justin Champagnie, 16 and 13, 2 steals, 2 triples, 39 minutes. Corey Kispert's thumb injury is kind of an under-the-radar, really important thing for this team to go off. Keyshawn George will continue to go off. Bub Carrington would be the guy that I'm wondering about, seeing if he can actually step into some of the hype that he's gotten all season. It's been a lot of stops and no starts. That's my number 2. Who do you got for your number 2?
Well, I'm going to stay with Washington, Brew. And maybe you or Andre can pull up Alex Sarr's roster percentage on Yahoo leagues. And maybe this is, as we write in the waiver wire articles throughout the year, the double check zone where just check waivers just in case this guy's out there. And the best way to do that, guys, in Yahoo leagues is go to the player section and then hit rostered, and it'll resort it by roster percentage. And you'll find guys that slip through the cracks, like an 85% roster guy somehow was dropped. You missed it on the waiver wire. Bam, he's still out there. Okay. So it's a good sort for you. But Alex Sarr over the weekend, Brew, in a game at Denver against Jokic, the pool buzzer beater game. Well, it wasn't a buzzer beater, but it was a near buzzer beater. Sarr went 34, 6, and 5, 1 block, 1 steal, 5 3 balls against Jokic, bro. He shot a 56% Yahoo roster percentage. Thank you, Andre. And Alex Sarr's been putting up some goodie lines. Not like this. This is the best game of his life so far, but at 56%, Brew. And he's a nice combination of threes and blocks. To me, he should be scooped up right away.
I think the 44% should just be kind of like, what's the word? Relegated to another place. How do you do that? How do you do that? He's upright. He's basically starting. He's going to get the ball. It makes no sense. Okay, well, I'll take your Alexander Sarr, and I will raise you. Let's just get to Philly and just get some of it over with. Adem Bona, Jeff Doughton Jr.
You've been talking about him all year, your boy Doughton.
Jeff Doughton Jr. almost took you down, sir. It was great. It's honestly, this list of Philly is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you want to go 9 deep, you don't need to go 9 deep. You don't need to go 8 deep, and you don't need to go 7 deep. But like Justin Edwards is number 6, and he was on the radar for what if this guy's actually kind of good? And then he had a bad week or 2 or 3, and it wasn't that. Ahead of him, I would have Alex Reese. This guy goes out onto the basketball floor, runs around like crazy, and accumulates stats, but does it for about 14 minutes per game. So not quite there yet. Jared Butler starting to heat up a little bit. He's a little bit more well-rounded, but not as exciting as Ricky Council. Ricky Council, everybody's wanted Ricky Council to happen, and he's finally starting to make some noise. The entire box score is mostly lit up. Jeff Doughton Jr. has been great, top 75 over the last couple of weeks. Bona, somewhere in there. We don't know about the ankle. He definitely rolled it in the middle of a game. I went and I looked it up. And the game prior to the one he missed here. So there's an actual injury here with him. So we don't know what's up with that. Is it big or it's small? I don't know. Quentin Grimes, he's been going off. That dude is going off, like controlling the game, going off. But if he's out of the lineup, have at it, folks.
I just think of Nico Harrison. You bring up Quentin Grimes. I'm like,
oh, yeah, that trade is so bad. It's how?
Why? Just why? Caleb Martin?
And
Caleb Martin's stock has completely fallen off. Why would you even do that? It never made sense on trade deadline day to me.
Philly got picks in that trade, by the way.
Whoa, are you? They got Grimes and stuff?
And stuff. I think it was a second round pick or something.
Oh, wow.
What a freaking, you think you had a bad year? Whoever you are. If you think you had a bad year.
Folks, you thought you had a bad year.
Just cue up some Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, Nico. Not good. Look, I'm a Ricky Council guy. When I was watching McCain in the Summer League, Ricky Council stole the show in one of those. I think they were in friggin' Utah. I forget what Summer League it was. I don't think it was the Vegas one. But I'm like, I was watching him. I'm like, all right, Ricky Council, you got some dog. At the end of last year, he had a couple of moments. I actually traded him in Sam Hinkie's letter. He was like playing just enough to spark somebody's interest, and it led to a trade offer that I couldn't refuse. That got me better for the stretch run. It helped me win a chip. So actually, Ricky Council, thank you for that. It was Quentin Grimes in the 2025 second in exchange for Caleb Martin going to Dallas. See, Nico Harrison forgot that the Eastern Conference Finals from like 2023 is over. It's in the rearview mirror. That was a once-in-a-lifetime act of God, Caleb Martin 2-week period. That's never going to be brought back. But Nico was living in the past.
Nico, don't do it, man. I had something, but I can't remember. Okay, how about this? Why don't I go to my next waiver wire pickup? Cason Wallace. I feel like this has been talked about a lot, so it's not like breaking news, but he's out there. He's available. It doesn't add up. He's been a mid-round guy over the last week. If you're looking for players that Oklahoma City probably doesn't mind keeping out there in the stretch run, he's on that list. He could go off even over the last few weeks. I don't expect him to be an early round guy. If it all goes well, he stays as a mid-round guy, but that's a big deal. And if you're looking for steals, especially, but he's actually been a little bit more well-rounded than just a steals guy lately. A lot of points, rebounds, and assists as well. So check out Cason Wallace. And you're on mute, sir. That's 2.
God bless him,
That's
America.
2.
I am sorry. I'm congested, so I don't want to have the throat clearing out here, but my bad on that. I like that call, Brew. I do. I want to go back to Philly for just a moment, if I could. Brew, I want to juxtapose 2 guys that I've got one league that I was unable to make my rounds with, but because it's the playoffs, you want to be earlier in the day than later in the day with the waiver wire and stuff like that. But in one of my leagues, with the events of today, I had a great show with Brendan Haywood and all this stuff. So I've got one move to make here. And Jared Butler and Ricky Council are both available in this league, Brew. It is a cash league. It is not a high stakes league, but it is a cash league. And I want to win this because I like cash. Okay. So Brew, who are you picking up? Ricky Council or Jared Butler? If you have your pick between those 2 guys.
Look, there's team needs that might shift this. It's really, really close. I ultimately put Ricky Council a shade higher on my lists, just because I think they want to see what happens next with him. And he's been shooting very poorly. So the correlation between a pickup on the shooting side of things and them leaning into wanting to see what he's capable of, I think he has another gear that we're not seeing right now, maybe 1 or 2 more gears. So with that, I got a little bit more excitement there than with Jared Butler, but Butler's been super consistent. And if you're looking for the combo of points and assists with the occasional 3-pointers, I think Jared Butler is probably your guy. Ricky Council, he's been shooting over the last 8 games 35.6%. And there's been a lot of talk locally about that. And that's usually when they start getting on the right side of the ledger with that. So I'm kind of trying to catch that lightning in a bottle there and hit him on the upswing. But yeah, it's close. It's real close.
I'd like Andre's answer on this as well. Andre Lemouche, great producer, to break the tie, Brew, because I'm on the other side of this. These are numbers over the last week, and you don't need to look at numbers before this. Over the last week, since Council has started popping and since Butler has started popping, Butler is 11 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.1 steals, 2 threes. Council is 14, 5, and 1, 1 block, 1 steal, and 1.3 threes. It's extremely close. I love the 1-1-1 guy, Brews. Brew. Like my guy Keyshawn George in Washington, right? He's always 1-1-1 at least in the block, steals, and threes. But I got to go grab those assists, Brew. I got to go grab that. I feel that's the most differentiating thing with either of these 2 stat lines is the 6 dimes from Butler. And so it's super close, but I would go Butler, and Andre would go Butler as well. But if you want, it's tough, man. It's funny. Really
it's funny because that's a classic situation is I'm trying to do something a little extra with that, and you guys are just right there on the cutting edge with probably the right pick. 6.3 assists over the last 4 games. That's hard to come by on the waiver wire. It really is.
But he's not a 1-1-1 guy like Ricky Council. So guys, if you are loaded with guards, like point guards, you're like, dude, I win assists by 30 every week, then go get Ricky Council. Yeah. And if you're like, Isaiah Collier's not doing it for me anymore out in Utah. Jared Butler is an Isaiah Collier type of stat set guy. So maybe go get him. Okay. I want to hit you with Trey Jones. Okay. We're on must-add players from the weekend of work. Brew. Like Trey Jones to me, again, Andre, what's his roster percentage? I bet it's in the 40s or something. He should be like in the 80s. Trey Jones, he's not the best fantasy gold guy, Brew. Okay, but it's the waiver wire. You can't have everything. But the PRA has been really good. And his last game over the weekend, he went 19 points, 6 assists, 2 3 balls. He's just putting up solid numbers. 22% on Trey Jones.
Well, and while we're speaking on Trey Jones, which I agree with every single thing you said there, we got to look at the other Jones, Tyus Jones. It feels to me like Bradley Beal is almost all the way done. And it feels like Phoenix is, despite Dallas doing everything that they can to fall out of the play-in, it feels like Phoenix really doesn't want to be in that thing. It's like they're sick of each other. And it's probably having to do with somebody between Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Mike Budenholzer. You know, the three of those guys are just done with each other in some way, shape, or form. And I kind of think that Booker's the odd guy out there. And he's also the guy that's most likely to stick around. And probably everybody knows that too. So everybody's got a foot on the way out the door and they're struggling. And Bradley Beal, who will play as long as he can actually just move up and down the court. But it feels like somebody that's healthy, that's steady and stable might be a guy that's going to be playing quite a bit going forward. And when Tyus Jones is getting the ball in that offense, he's been a top 50 guy for stretches in the past. So he's not getting minutes right now. He's not getting production right now. 24 minutes, 8 points, 5 assists, 2 triples, but Beal couldn't finish the game. So it feels like this team's going to lose at least one of the 3 big 3. And at some point it could be 2 of the 3 big 3. And that's where guys like Tyus Jones come in. So this is a little bit of a speculative position here with Tyus Jones. Maybe you can wait this out. But not just him, Ryan Dunn has picked up the pace, 13 points, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 2 triples in 23 minutes. Now he did have some kind of a leg injury during the game. They didn't mention it after the game, but it's Phoenix. So there's not a lot of media chatter, though the media in Phoenix does a great job. And Royce O'Neal also starting to pick up the pace. So I think that triumvirate of players would be where I would focus my attention on Phoenix, looking at the waiver wire.
Tyus Jones or Trey Jones? Who you picking up?
Trey Jones. You got the goodies right now. You might as well, go with that. And Chicago's real interesting. I mean, they might just run 4 guards out there the rest of the way and do whatever they're going to do with the center position. But they got a lot of guards right now that are productive.
You guys can go ahead and cut Zach Collins. It was nice. It was fun. It was cute. It was a fling. And you can go ahead and send him back to waivers right now. I gave him one more. I think it was the Houston game on Saturday, if memory serves. He had like 5 and 5. Whoosh, flush. I hung in there with Zach Collins longer than I usually hang in there with a waiver wire pickup, Brew. I gave him leash. I gave him grace. Okay. And then I had to part ways with him. He is whoosh.
I hung on. I'm playing in 200-player leagues, so it's a little bit easier to hang on there. I don't know. They stuck with him longer than I thought they should have. And I'm like, what? You guys have a thing for Zach Collins now? Come on now. Maybe this is actually going to happen when Vucevic is like, I don't want to do it anymore. Zach Collins is there. But yeah, move on if you can.
And he will be there on the waiver wire for me if and when they shut down Vooch. Donovan Clingan. Let's have a Clingan conversation.
Oh, wow.
Group.
All right, we're going to do it.
Last game, 5 points, 14 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 30 minutes. You'd like more points, obviously, but okay, 14 rebounds and 3 blocks. You have my attention. I'm fascinated with Donovan Clingan. I did drop him again. I was very, very patient with him because remember he had those back-to-back games. Were they both at Denver? He drilled Jokic in back-to-back games. And then boo, all the minutes went away and all the stats went away. And I hung in there and I was like, I got to let him go. But now he started picking back. Like Chauncey Billups has me on the freaking yo-yo, dude. And I'm not really enjoying it. But I think Donovan, if he's going to play 30 minutes, Brew, and click off 14 boards and 3 blocks, he has to be scooped up right now.
He does. And I mean, he's one of these guys that even during the worst of the worst, I don't know what shows, but it's like, yeah, do not drop him. Let this play out because there's just too much potential in 10, 12 minutes to start the season. He was up there with top 150 lines, getting almost 10 and 10 with a couple blocks in 12 minutes a game. And then we would get a little bit more. He'd get 18 minutes a game and we would watch that work out well. And then this sort of middle of the season, and I thought he was hurt there for probably a good 3-4 week span. When I watched him in this last game, granted, it was against Toronto and they were playing Castleton and a lot of bigger guys. So it really made sense for him to be out there a lot, but he did look healthier than he has looked in the past. And just sort of kind of looking at the game log here, he's got 3 straight games over 30 minutes, a couple of bigger opponents in New York and Toronto, but Golden State's running small lineups all the time, so he at least got run in that one. Detroit, OKC, and Boston were 20 minutes a pop, possibly because Boston and OKC are so good and can run you around so much that Chauncey just was like, okay, I can't put him out there against these guys because they're that good. Teams that are really, really good can expose a sort of lead-footed big man. But the fact he got the 32 against Golden State might have marked the pivot point for him. But it doesn't matter what I'm saying here. Hold him and play him for the most part.
Brew, do you have anybody else? Any other must-add pickups from the weekend?
Yeah, since you asked, I do. Let's go real quick with Scottie Pippen Jr. I don't know if I'm going to call him a must-add pickup because certain league sizes, I don't know that this plays. But, you got Ja Morant out with a hamstring injury. This appears to be a new injury to add to the pile of injuries.
The pile.
It's
well
killing.
It's a pile, all right. It's a pile of something you don't want to step in.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Dude, are you ever drafting Ja Morant again?
No, I play a lot of roto where it doesn't play as well. And so that's kept me out of it for the most part. I would not in any circumstance, whether it's head to head, roto, etc. Andre says he will.
He's just being different.
He's just being different. He's just being different.
Really, you're going to spend a 3rd or 4th round pick next year on Ja Morant because that's where he's going to be drafted. That's where I drafted Ja Morant this year, and I have regretted it ever since.
Andre is like the most under the radar troller in the history.
He really is.
He's a troll, and Scottie Pippen Jr. is questionable with a wrist injury as well. Keep this in mind, guys. But
Luke Kennard.
I know. Doc actually had a you and he talking about Luke Kennard reference in the last show, so I don't know who was on which side of what. Were you a never Luke Kennarder?
I am not a never Luke Kennarder. I'm a maybe when Ja Morant is out, Luke Kennarder. But if Scottie Pippen Jr. and Ja Morant are out,
Luke Kennard it up.
Then Luke Kennard is a fantastic streamer for you. Yes. But you know Luke Kennard, right? And especially, dude, I'm onto his game. And you know how I am about the spike game, the pop game, the career year. I always fade coming off of it and I never lose. So I want to see the game log where Kennard's got like 13 points in the last 3 games and hasn't made a damn 3. Yep. That's when I want to stream Luke Kennard, not coming off of the 30-point game.
That's scary. Yeah, I don't know that I would put a Kennard on it, but Scottie Pippen Jr. mid-round value. He's been great, and especially if you need steals, if you need assists, like these things that sometimes are hard to get at this time of year, he's been cranking it up, and that's great because he kind of had a middle third of the season that made me feel bad on the inside. That's it. That's it. I think there's more, but that's it. And some of them aren't even must pick up, but there's just a lot. There's a lot out there. There's a lot. Philly alone should fill up an entire league's worth of pickups.
Yeah, Washington too, man. We talk about them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else, dude. Nobody else in the media space talks more Washington Wizards basketball than Sports Ethos Fantasy Basketball, and we're damn proud of it too.
It's a blessing and a curse. And how dare they win games like the way that they have been? What is this?
You know what it is? Brew, all of these teams would be way better if they just played their guys.
I know.
Yeah, the most obvious statement ever, right? Like, think about Utah. I'm telling you right now, Utah would be where Portland, Dallas, and Phoenix are in the West if they played their guys all year long. I'm telling you, they would be a competitive basketball team.
The only team that's done the tanking well is San Antonio. And you just happen to have a historic franchise with historic culture and some of the best Hall of Famers and players and mentors and culture setters known to man. That's the team that did it. That's it. Of course, Philly wasn't going to be able to pull it off. And whoever else.
Andre's liking the Spurs praise. Andre Lemouche is our producer. That's Eric Bruski.
The first time he's ever told me to keep talking.
How'd that feel? Feel good?
It felt good.
And we're breaking down the fantasy goodies, folks. Looking back at the weekend that was, we're going to look at here on Monday. We've got streamers for you. We've got ATS picks. I've got Ricky props. It's all coming up. You're in a good spot with your boys, Cam and Brew. All right, let's get to our weekend studs and duds. James Harden wins the award, stud of the weekend. 28, 9, and 7, 2.5 steals, 1 block, 4 threes per game. Howowza. The Austin Reeves ascent is on. It's going to be short-lived because Braun is coming back. But, Brew, these numbers, 32.5 points, 6 rebounds, 9.5 dimes, 3 steals, 4 threes per game. And then Onyeka Okongwu with a 19, 12, and 2 steals, 3 block goodie line, dude. Anybody else stand out for you on the stud side?
No, I just want to mention with Austin Reeves, like, we leaned in pretty hard on the B150. Reeves just seemed like the guy that if at minimum everybody stayed healthy, he was going to be great. And, there was like a little market softness there. It didn't make much sense. And then when one of the two are gone, he's just able to step in and do great things. But I thought it was great. Richard Jefferson, however you feel about Richard Jefferson on the broadcast.
I'm a fan. I like him.
He was like, he was probably the first that I've seen nationally to bring up the fact that Austin Reeves' handle is as elite as it gets. And it was something I was noticing in preseason during just a random game, and maybe it was even regular season. The amount of respect that he gets from opposing players in the end of the game, dribbling out the ball, little routine that players do, like they run up to him and try to steal the ball while there's nothing on the line. And he just calmly shrugs them off and they all get a kick out of it. His handle is elite. It's something that it's powered his game. He can get to spots that others can't get to because of the handle. He's got length. He's got some athleticism, and then he's got the shooting touch. He can score at all 3 levels. So he's just better than people think. And in the shadow of the Giants in LA, that helps it. And I won't be fading him. I think when LeBron comes back, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt that bad. And it's been great. And Onyeka, he's having an amazing season. He's finally having that season everybody wanted him to have. And so very proud to see him do that.
Indeed. John Morant did have a spike game over the weekend. He had a 44, 8, and 7, and now he's missing Monday's game.
Just as we crap on him, 44, 8, and 7, and a missed game.
Yeah, but he's not going to be available for my team in Sam Hinkie's letter as the playoffs begin tonight. But we'll see. Scottie Pippen Jr., good numbers over the weekend, 9, 4, and 8 PRA, 2.5 steals, 1 block, and 2 threes. Keon Johnson, who we talked about, 21, 7, and 3, 1 steal, 4.5 threes per game. Aaron Nesmith emerging, although he is questionable tonight against Minnesota, 23 points, 4.5 threes per game. Hey, the goodie guy, Keyshawn George, 3 steals, 1 block, 4 threes. That was in one game. Okay, but I mean, Brew, I'm looking for 5 to 6 fantasy gold goodies from Keyshawn George, man.
And you're probably going to get them.
Dude, are you a fan of his game or what?
Yeah,
I'm geeked about Keyshawn George,
you know what?
man.
I don't know. Washington, I don't know. Like sometimes they're just like the dumbest team in the league. But picking up Keyshawn George in the late part of the first round, what a grab. I mean, he just jumps off the page with his size and his quickness and his length. He can shoot. It's like, why? Why did this happen? Why did you guys get him? That's not like you guys. But we'll take it. And Washington's trying to win games. It's a fun little thing that they've got going on right now. I'm happy with it because Justin Champagnie gets to play now.
You know what's going on, Brew? They've done their work. They've done their work. They have sucked all season. They're either in the pole position or right there for Cooper Flag. As you know, the top 3 teams in the lottery standings all have a 14% chance. Okay. You don't get a 50% chance if you have the worst record and then a 25. No, it's 14% for the bottom 3 teams. So to decrease the incentive to tank. This isn't the NFL where if you have the worst record, you draft first. It's not. There'd be 10 teams tanking every year if the NBA did it that way. Thank God we don't. But It's okay for Washington to go win some games. It's okay for Jordan Poole to hit a game winner with 1 second left at Denver. You've already done your work, bro. You're already bellied up to the Cooper flag table. Now go have some fun before the end of the year.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
And Keyshawn George, a big, big part of it. It is Cam. It is Baru. We are the Fantasy NBA today, folks. All right, let's get to the duds. Ooch. Norman Powell, but he came back. Like, I'm conflicted on this. Yeah, he was a dud. He had 7 points, played 22 minutes, but he's back. I know. Just in time to play against Doc at 30 deep. Dang it, Norman Powell.
Yeah, that Rust game came just in time for you.
Oh, good point. He got the kinks out in the game over the weekend. Not good. Jalen Duren, ouch, babe. 8, 5, and 2 in 28 minutes in that game against OKC. And then Benedict Mathurin. I said bye to him 2-3 weeks ago. Y'all still hanging on to Ben Mathurin, 41% rostered. How is Ben Mathurin 41% rostered and Trey Jones is 22% rostered? Help me make sense of that.
Relegate those leagues. Relegate them. But Benedict Mathurin, if all those guys are questionable in Indy, if those guys don't play, hey, give them a look.
Yeah, I'm just...
For one game. For one game.
Okay, those are the duds and studs. All right, Brew, let's downshift into I want to tell y'all, first of all, download the Sports Ethos app. Top fantasy tools, real-time updates, all the news that matters for your teams. It's free. Go get it now. You can still listen to us. Just go download it. It's completely free. And we've got blurbs for the NBA, MLB, NFL. Brew, anything else you'd like to tell the people about the gorgeous and absolutely free Sports Ethos app?
I love it. I don't have to go onto social media during lineup lock times. I just use the app. It's that much gentler on my brain. That's all I got. And I love it so dearly. And I love it.
It's the coolest thing in the world. We love the Sports Ethos app, and we want you to love it as well. Give me some streamers here. Let's do it like we did the must-adds for the weekend. Let's kind of do a one after the other alternate thing here. So,
we just mentioned Benedict Mathurin, this Indiana at Minnesota. Let me check the line here real quick while I'm talking, because that might have updated since the overnight, and that will help inform my guess as to whether or not certain Indiana players play. We have the 7.5 now up to 8 for Minnesota. That leads me to believe that maybe one of the 3 questionables are not playing. Pascal Siakam out as well. Either way, with Siakam out, I think Nesmith needs to be rostered in all formats, I think, at this point. But he's not, probably. So if he's just sitting there available, go grab him. And then your choice, dealer's choice, what's going to help you most with the stats, TJ McConnell or Benedict Mathurin or even Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin, especially with Siakam out, could get, instead of 20 minutes, maybe like 24 minutes. In those 4 minutes, he'll crank out like 6 additional shots. He's that kind of a guy. Thomas Bryant, even if you're really desperate, needing a center. The minute 1 or 2 offensive engines go out in Indiana, the rest of the box score just sort of percolates. So that's my 5-player recommendation in Indiana.
All right, Brew, I want to go to, and I just want to say his name and watch you laugh.
Oh,
Filipowski.
Okay, because we've had some problems on the show with things and the laughing and not being able to stop department. Yeah, Cal Filipowski, okay.
Filipowski.
And he's available?
Did Walker Kessler play yesterday? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
He did. He had that mysterious, I think it was Friday, where he was like available but didn't play. It's like, Utah, what are you doing? You're so freaking tanky. It's so annoying. But we know that Kessler doesn't play back-to-backs right now because of the Utah tank. That's one of their little tanking structures. Okay, so he played yesterday. I don't think Kessler's going to play today, which again is a hit for me in 30 deep. I will miss at least one Kessler game. It's a 4-game week for Utah. I did not think I was going to get all 4 games. It is what it is. But with him out, Filipowski is going to be green lit here tonight. And in that Friday game where Kessler was out, Filipowski went off. And so you're the guy that turned me on to Filipowski. It is your fault / your credit. But he's a terrific streamer tonight. He's going to have a big game to get your playoff week off to a good start.
Well, that's excellent. I'm going to spin us over to, let's go to Chicago. I like kind of specializing in more of the deep league stuff. Julian Phillips is coming off of a 3-week stretch of 11 points, just over a triple a game, 4 boards, 2.3 assists, 1.7 combined defensive stats. I like the idea that he's somebody that's played all season. He's, I believe, not missed a game or close, and he's been playing about 18 minutes a game all year. So he's pretty much involved. And if you start to see Nick Vucevic, if you start to see the power forward position start to slide, he's a guy I think that can come in and soak up some minutes, and it would be interesting just in the what if sense. So if you have a roster spot to burn and those stats could be helpful to you, I say give him a look. And Kevin Huerter, he had a bad one recently, but he had been cooking before that. He would be worth a look. And even Bacelis has probably landed on waiver wires. So in that game, and then if you didn't get in on Kyle Filipowski, Bryce Sensabaugh is probably due as well. And I got more, but we'll leave it at that.
I love it, dude. I love it. Let me bounce around here a little bit. Where do I want to go here, Brew? I'm trying to go to some stuff maybe we haven't talked about. I want to one more time bring up Justin Champagnie, just in case, okay? Versus Denver. He went 16-13, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 threes. Played 39 minutes. With Kispert out, Justin Champagnie, he was already a really good streamer. Now he shouldn't even be a streamer. He should just be rostered on your team. And then I want to just give you a little bit of Bruce Brown, Brew. Bruce Brown, when Zion Williamson is out, that's like the pivot for him. So Zion, Olynyk, and Messi are all questionable for tonight's game for New Orleans. New Orleans is at home against Detroit. That reeks of some Matkovic, who double-doubled over the weekend, and that reeks of some Bruce Brown, who went 19-6 in a loss to the Spurs when he started. So I hit the tennis ball back over to you, my friend.
Yeah. Since you mentioned a Champagnie, let's get over into San Antonio. Julian Champagnie finally, very quietly off the bench, had a Champagnie game, 12 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 3 triples, 25 minutes. He was outdone by Jeremy Sohan, 31 minutes, 14-5 with 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And Harrison Barnes, even 27 minutes, 19 points, 3 triples, and a very Harrison Barnes kind of a line. I think the Spurs are going to play a lot of guys 25 minutes a game, but it's actually going to work out pretty well for them. Keldon Johnson, I think Champagnie starts to go back to that top 100 9-cat form he had. Sohan maybe has a shot here at some sort of a mini breakout, thinking like top 75 value if it all goes well. He's got a lot of clear path in front of him. And then Barnes might just actually be good down the stretch. And it might just be one of those things where you look at it at the end of the year, you go, Harrison Barnes won somebody a championship? Doesn't add up, doesn't make sense. But the 19-3-4 and not much else that Harrison Barnes brings to the table, if that works with your squad. The Champagnie one is probably my favorite one. But if I had a lot of money on the line, I would probably be going with Jeremy Sohan instead. Somebody's got to get the stats left by De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama and no big man. And, probably even more attrition that will start setting in as they continue to tank a little bit harder as well down the stretch. But Champagnie and Sohan, Champagnie's a little bit more healthy between the two if you're looking at it that way. I like all those players in a streaming situation because I think they'll be both productive and also give you a little bit of long-term upside.
I feel the same way about Stefan Castle. It is the Fantasy NBA today. Rick Kamla, Aaron Bruski with you. Stefan Castle. Oh, okay. Well, you all are at least awake on him. He's 55% rostered, but should be more. He had 17-7 in a start alongside Chris Paul over the weekend, and I think the numbers are going to grow from there as he makes the last push here for Rookie of the Year, which I think he will win. I got to give credit where credit is due. I think that tonight Miles McBride is a decent streaming option for you. I'm bringing him up at this point because I don't love him. But if some other guys are gone and stuff like that, like if you can't get Castle and, so you can't get Champagny, you can't get Filipowski, maybe rock some Miles McBride tonight. It's a home game against Miami. They suck. Last 3 games, McBride's gone 21, 11, 19. That's the consistency that I need to see, because it's obviously it goes up and down with this guy. And 9 defensive goodies, Brew, over the last 3 games. So I feel like Miles McBride's peaking to a nice streamer for us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think he's like a roster guy, but he's been available. He was available in super deep leagues over the weekend. We do our waivers once a week, so there's a little bit of a lag factor there. But as for the game itself, I mean, if not for the fact that Miami's lost like 7 or 8 in a row, I think it's 7. Like they are due for a win. That's the only thing that would keep me from hammering New York -7.5 in that game. And if New York is going big, that means McBride's probably going big. Feels like they're ready to wallop a team right now. And that Miami team is just checked out. The damage from the Jimmy Butler saga didn't take long to accrue. It's an interesting case study in whether or not the Pat Riley method has an expiration date or not.
Good point. They lost their alpha, that's for sure. And there was an alpha void there in Miami. Not mad at them. They had to do what they had to do, obviously. Jackson Hayes. Let's bring him up here, Baru.
He looks good.
Over the weekend, 19, 6, and 3, 1 block, 1 steal, 29 minutes. He's going to get minutes, guys. And it's San Antonio at LA. Bench players, role players, they all play better at home. And I know Hayes is starting. But you've got San Antonio coming in here, and they're centerless. They don't have Bassie, of course. They don't have Wemby. And so I believe Jackson Hayes is going to be out there running and dunking and smiling and doing his thing. I think he's going to have a good game tonight.
Hey, look at Dan Gafford, who was pretty good in Washington before he got to Dallas, in all fairness. And look at what they're doing with their other center, whose name I can't remember all of a sudden. He's injured right now. Dallas.
Down in San Antonio?
No, Dallas. Lively. Thanks. Andre knows my thoughts. Derek Lively. Like, Luka has made these guys really, really good in the past. And he's going to do that with Jackson Hayes. Like those little simple dump off, mid-roll to the hoop. He's got an ability to gather and go and get a lot of distance just using that 7-foot length. And so he's going to get a lot of layups that way. He's going to get a lot of dunks. It's going to be there all the time. It's going to be a little safety valve for them to go to when all the preferred stuff isn't available to them. So he's going to get the kind of numbers that you're seeing right now. And it might even stick when LeBron gets back because he's just a unique skill set in that regard. So it's interesting. I think Lively's going to have a good stretch, or probably Jackson Hayes is going to have a good stretch down here.
When LeBron comes back, he's still going to start and all that kind of stuff. But I think the minutes are going to shrink a little bit. I think when Bron is in there, then he'll play a little center, and I think it takes a bite out of Hayes a little bit. So enjoy it while it lasts here. On LeBron, by the way, a little thought bubble. Sham said yesterday that he's resumed on-court work with the team. He looked pretty spry on the sideline celebrating a bucket by Bryce in a state title run. I don't know what dang game it was. Don't really care. But what I saw was LeBron James moving, and they said he's got a groin injury. He was like darting and showing lateral quickness. I was like, Bron, come back, dude. It's fantasy playoffs. Let's go. When are you feeling like Bron's coming back?
I thought it was going to be sooner than this report made it. That was my vibe. I wonder if they're just buying a little bit of extra time off, knowing that Luka could use it to get acclimated to his teammates. Not making them go through this acclimation process all together, clumped together at the same time. So I just think he's healthy, and they're just buying this time. That's all. He's probably about a week out now, but if he returned a little bit sooner, wouldn't shock me. But it's a bummer from a fantasy perspective, and they're one game out of the 2 slot. Not sure about how the tiebreakers shake out, but they're in the 5 slot right now, and Golden State's right on their tail.
Yep.
You got Minnesota, who's surging, has won like 7 straight or something. They're tied with Golden State. So there's not a lot of room for error here. If you're Los Angeles, you can get a good seed and probably a good playoff opponent. And that whole dance is yet to shake out. That's always one of the most fascinating things for me at the end of the season, 2-3 weeks to go. Where is a team in the top trying to angle to play toward the bottom of the bracket? And some teams are like, we just don't even think that way. We don't care. We'll just take whoever we get. And then some teams actually try to choose their opponent. And then that either works or it doesn't work in their favor. And it's just fascinating to me. But there's a lot of movement, a lot of stuff on the line for Los Angeles. So he's got to get back sooner rather than later.
I'm going to try to pinpoint the game here. Players like to come back at home against lesser opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it goes. And ball players have told me that. Antonio Daniels on NBA radio, time and time again. Cam, I keep telling you, these guys don't want to come back for tough opponents. They want to come back for a home game against a weak team. So LA's weak. They're all home games. Tonight against San Antonio, he's not playing tonight. Then Denver on Wednesday, maybe, probably not. Thursday, another home game against Milwaukee. The odds are increasing here later in the week, second of a back-to-back. It is a high-profile game. It is a soft defensive opponent. And then you've got the Saturday game. Wow, that's just weird. The Lakers always play on Sunday. The Clippers always play on Saturday. Not this week. It is a Saturday 10:30 game for the Lakers. I'm always used to the 10:30 joint on a Sunday night. Anyway, that's against Chicago. Okay, that I believe will be the LeBron James return game. Saturday, March 22nd at home against Chicago. So if you're in a weekly lineup league, I'm not going to war with LeBron James.
And look, they might have looked at this and said Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, only one day with a day off in that stretch. 4 games in 5 games, or four games in 5 days, and a groin injury, and it's the playoffs right around the corner. No, sir. We'll skip that, and it'll be Thursday at the soonest, but Saturday is probably the day.
Okay, so where are we in our rundowny here? Anybody else in terms of streamers? For me, let me bring up one last guy, Brew, and this is the last guy I have. How are you feeling about AJ Lawson in Toronto? The last game, it was the non-Quickly and Barrett game because they're doing like the soft tank where they don't play the guys in both of a back-to-back when clearly they could both play. It's just a tanky mechanism, like. It's like the new way to tank in the NBA, but at least the guys aren't shut down for the year. So they're meeting me in the middle here. But AJ Lawson in that game didn't play well, Brew, but he got 33 minutes off the bench, 14 shots taken, only made 4, and went 9, 8, and 6. Look at the back of AJ Lawson's basketball card before that game. It looks awesome. I do think Quickly and Barrett are going to come back and play tonight. But how are you feeling about AJ Lawson? Are you looking at him as a streamer or roster guy? Is he not on your radar or what?
Yeah, there's this clump of him and Battle and Abaji and Shed, and you got Garrett Temple, one of my dudes. You know, I used to go on and on. You think I go on and on about Keon Ellis? I used to go on and on about Garrett Temple all the time. He's getting minutes right now for this squad. So I think that whole group that I just mentioned is I'm staying away from all of them, knowing that they're going to run a starter back in this thing 1 out of every 2 or 3 games. And it's just going to mess up with the flow. It's the Biggs, the Robinsons, the Castletons that I think you can kind of count on, believe it or not, at this point in time. But yeah, I'm not going to go there. One team that's actually a little bit streamerific. Yeah, I said it. That I haven't mentioned is Golden State. Golden State's got a bunch of sub-rosterable players that are actually doing things. Gary Payton, 4 cash counters. That's 3 steals and blocks in 25 minutes per game over the last 3 games. Buddy Hield, 13 points, just under 4 threes, just under 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.3 steals in 20 minutes a game over the last 3 games. So he's good right now. How long that lasts is anybody's guess. That might be a reason to stay away. Quentin Post, 9 points, 2.3 triples, almost 6 rebounds, 2.4 combined defensive stats, 22 minutes per game. He's been consistent like this for about 3-4 weeks now. Kuminga, back on the board, 14 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 20 minutes. That's if you're looking at kind of the points and boards area for your squad. He's probably got that going. They probably want to get him going. A lot of reasons to fade Kuminga, but in a streaming capacity, if you could put out a marker on one of those players, you're probably doing pretty good.
Bruski Rick Kamla, I do agree with that, Brew. Okay, so let's get into the betting portion of the show. I've only got one. How many do you have?
I'm never going to do a player prop. I'm just going to say that right now. And I've got 2, perhaps 3 sides.
All right, so hit me with one, then I'll go, and then you can wrap up the ATS. What's your first one?
Okay, you all know that I follow Detroit Pistons as much as I follow Keon Ellis and the Sacramento Kings. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Let me just see what the overnight adjusted to. 7.5. See, if you go early on this stuff, sometimes you could get a bit of a discount. They're at New Orleans. You got Zion, Kelly Olynyk, and Yves Missi questionable. Let's see if that's all still the same. I think that's still the same as of right now. It doesn't matter. Whatever's happening on New Orleans side is whatever happening. If they field a full roster here, that's fine. Because Detroit, they've lost 2 straight. They're surly. They likely see this 5-game stretch here as a time that they can make their mark. New Orleans, Miami, Dallas, New Orleans again, and then San Antonio before they get a bunch of heavyweights to finish the season. So they know for their playoff seeding, this is the stretch. I'm sure they're putting it down on the whiteboard that they got to go 4-1. At least 3-2. So getting this first win after 2 losses that they're super pissed off about. I heard, was it JB? I was on the show or during the pregame that Bickerstaff's quotes about being disrespected, all of this. They had a rough weekend. They lost their mojo, and I think that they're going to take it out on the New Orleans Pelicans here. So I like that for 2 units.
All right, Brews on Detroit at New Orleans. I like that. I like that. What is it? It's 7.5, right?
7.5. I know.
I tell you what's jamming me up on it is Zion questionable, Olynyk questionable, Missi questionable. If they're all ruled out and the line stays at 7.5, bang it. But what if Zion plays as we speak here right now? So that's kind of jamming me up on that. But I love the theory and the premise. Brew, I want to go out to Portland. Portland's been good to me. I've been winning with them. There's value with Portland because nobody cares and they're off of Vegas's radar. I mean, they're not. Every team's on the radar. There's thousands, millions of dollars being transacted. But you get the point. They're not public like the Lakers or the Knicks, okay? So Portland minus 5.5 at home against Washington. Portland minus 5.5 at home against Washington. I like this. I like this. Guys, I fade coming off of Act of Gods, and I don't lose, okay? Washington is coming off of a win at Denver when Jordan Poole hit almost a buzzer beater shot, okay? Ooh, whoosh. This is where they crashed back to earth, okay? Washington's 8-25 on the road to amplify how freaking rare that win was. The Blazers are going to bring it. They're at home. They're way better at home than they are on the road. And the Blazers are 3.5 games behind Dallas for 10th place. They're still like Brew out there. People, oh, man, they're not making the play-in tournament. That doesn't matter. What matters is the motivation found in that locker room. That's what matters. So I like Portland minus 5.5.
I'm so pissed because I really wanted to take that. And now I just feel like a bitch.
What do you mean?
Because I should be on Portland for all the reasons that you outlined. They're a much better basketball team than Washington. Like if this was just like a normal capping process, it would be, Portland minus 8, minus 9, because they're just a superior basketball squad. And the things that got in my head were the veteran additions of the Wizards and them wanting to play hard now and wanting to win games. And they got the momentum off of the win in Denver. And you're right. Acts of God. That's just bottom line. That's not going to happen again. They got their win. They're happy. And then there was the back-to-back thing. Portland came down the stretch last night and took the game, and maybe I got a little gun shy from just the way that they had to come back against Toronto and take that win. But they were clearly the better team. They just kind of got maybe weirded out by Toronto squad that how the hell do you prepare for Colin Castleton and Orlando Robinson at the 4 and 5? Like, you just
and
don't.
your guy Jamison Battle, nobody even knows his game. They don't even know what he does.
Seriously, I'm sure they were like, "Who are these guys?" And then that all happened. But yeah, I wussed out there. Okay, let's go to Houston, where Houston, and I don't know if this is swinging the line or not, but Adem Bona is out for tonight's game. That's a bummer for us fantasy heads, but to swing it back to fantasy, Alex Reese now becomes pretty damn interesting. Keep an eye out for Andre Drummond's status. I don't know if we got it. He's out as well. Okay, so Alex Reese might actually be a very good streamer here tonight because they don't have players. They're playing Brissett as some of their muscle down low as well. So Brissett might be an out of no. And if you're looking at DFS stuff, I think you probably live on the Philadelphia Sixers roster page trying to figure out what's what. But they got their win last night against Dallas, and they played plucky basketball. They really did. Like it was fun to watch. Like a bunch of guys living out their NBA dreams and getting their chance to show their stuff and really taking it for what it's worth. Okay, maybe they got some momentum. No, they're going to Houston. Houston is sitting in the 2 seed right now. They need to keep winning games. They're going to take Philadelphia, who does not know each other's names. They're all wearing name tags, and unless they completely just show up to this game and not think that there's any chance Philly's going to win, I don't think that's a way that Houston plays the game. Houston's just going to smack them around. 15.5. I think this thing will be over at halftime. So I'll go in there with a unit and a half.
So the thing, hello, my name is Ricky Council, the 8th or whatever his name is. I think it's the 4th. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful. We like Ricky Council around here. Any other ATS, Brew? Did you say you were on the fence about one?
Yeah, there's one. Toronto at plus 8.5, and they are now Toronto. Where'd you go? They're 8.5 still against the Suns. It's Toronto playing a little bit well. Phoenix, I think that's 1-2-3 Cancun, 3-2-1 Cancun. However that goes. I
like that call, dude. I like that call. Beal's not going to play. Toronto's probably going to get quickly and bear it back. I guess I wussed out on that one too, because I did look at that. I love betting against or fading all things Phoenix right now. Toronto is like they're playing their guys and like they don't suck. They're a competitive team right now. I kind of like it's 8.5,
8.5, a 9 even.
I mean, they just need to like hang. They just need to hang until free throwville, right? Final 105 of the game, you're down 3 or 4, and you're fouling Durant, and you can still cover at that point. I like that one. I like that one. All right, you ready for Ricky props?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, Ricky props. I'm going to go through these as quickly.
I'm going to blind bet them.
Oh, okay, I love it. I don't have my numbers in front of me, but they don't suck. My numbers ATS and prop wise do not suck this year. They're actually pretty healthy. So here's what I like. No Ja Morant tonight, so let's capitalize on it. Okay, Memphis is at Sacramento. I mean, we already know, right? Sacramento, high scoring games. They don't play a lot of defense. They run, and it's just always kind of a fun game out there in Sac, right? So let's plug into that. I like Jaren Jackson Jr.'s point prop over at 24.5 minus 110. We've seen it for years. When Ja Morant goes out, JJJ's like, yeah, it's my show. And he thrives. Okay. He had 30, I believe, in their last game. I forget. But anyway, love him. And I'm hedging here. So just in case he has a foul trouble game or a bad game, I want to go Baines point prop over as well. Because I believe I'm going to hit both of these. But you know what? I'm not going to miss both of these. Okay. So it's either going to be 1-1 or 2-0 here. And Bane is at 22.5 minus 105. So no Ja, Bane up, JJJ up. Devin Booker, Brew. We just talked about Toronto. We like them plus 8.5, right? Phoenix sucks. We get this. Okay. What I know about Devin Booker is that he, like, if he smells blood in the water, he'll go score 50. Like Kevin Durant's laid back. Kevin Durant's not going into the Toronto game. He's going in there thinking, I'm going to get my 30. Maybe we win, maybe we lose. Devin Booker's going to be like, no, dude, Toronto, they suck. I'm going for 40 tonight. So it's 25.5 on Booker minus 115. It's a trend I've noticed with him. He doesn't like let down against bad teams. He's like, yo, I can rack up stats against bad teams. And then, Brew, I want us to hop on a plane and go to Salt Lake City. And I want us to bet on a couple of Chicago Bulls. I like Kobe White over 24.5 points tonight, minus 120. Kobe White's been killing it. Okay. He comes off of a downish game. He had like 23, I think, but it was against Houston. Very good defensive team. He's going to be like, damn, y'all don't play any defense up here, do you? And I think Kobe White's going to probably go for 30 tonight. And then I've got a really sneaky one here for you, Brew. Kevin Huerter.
Mm-hmm.
And the number is shockingly high at 14.5. And I'm going there anyway, because I've found when there's a woe, go with the woe. The woe is like, damn, just play it. Okay. Like sometimes we get too caught up in the number here. 14.5, it's plus 100, a lot more action coming in on the under here, but there's a bounce back factor at play. He had 9 points in 34 minutes in that Houston game I referenced, shot 4 of 11 and 1 of 6. So I fade coming off of Act of God, and I love to play good shooters in a cherry matchup coming out of wreckage. I feel like I'm going to get, that 4 or 5 3-ball Huerter game tonight, and he'll be at 16, 18, 19 points. So I like Huerter's over at 14.5. And
as somebody that's watched Huerter for a long time now, he is the kind of guy that thrives in space and pace. And when there's not physical matchups that are going to shut him down, that's when he's really, really good. He's an extremely good offensive player, and he's got a lot to prove right now. So he's not taking games off. And I like that one a lot.
He's kind of like Lonnie Walker was in Philly before he hit his head, right? Playing for his NBA life. Like Kevin Huerter's now a journeyman. He's bouncing around and hasn't found a home. And so such a good point. Like every game for Kevin Huerter is the Super Bowl right now, whether auditioning for his team, some other team. So there you go. That's Ricky Props. Let me reiterate it for you here, folks. Kevin Huerter over 14.5. Kobe White over 24.5. Devin Booker over 25.5, Bane over 22.5, and JJJ over 24.5. My chamber's empty, Brew. I got nothing left in my chamber. Any messages, anything you want to promote here before we say bye-bye to the people?
Baseball. I know that drafts are are baseball drafts done? Was this the draft?
No. Definitely not. This is still going strong.
I should know this, but I don't. I'm stuck in NBAville, and nobody can even get through to me right now, except for my kid, and even him. I'm giving him a little stink eye right now. So check out the Major League Baseball draft guide. That draft tracker was built by the folks that built the NBA draft tracker, and anybody who hasn't used the NBA draft tracker is really losing out. I mean, it's one of the most sophisticated draft tools that there is. When you plug in the power of projections and hard work, it makes your draft experience so easy and effective. So check out the MLB Fantasy Pass. MLB 2025 gets you 25% off. All Sport 25 gets you 25% off, both for 6 months on the All Sport Pass. So if you want to get baseball for the price of all sports, you can get all sports for $6. That actually was really confusing to me. But at any rate, go check out the baseball draft guide right now. It is apparently draft season, and it's the time to get it. So go ahead and do that.
It is. It's the perfect time to go there and hit us up for that MLB draft guide.
What happened?
Oh,
Brew. What happened?
Saturday night. I hate auto drafting. I forgot about a fantasy baseball draft. And I love drafting. It was sick. Dude, it was Saturday night at 11 p.m.
It was the drummer's fault.
It kind of was. I wasn't Saturday was a weird day for me. But I missed the draft. Brew. And I was like, I completely forgot. And I was making my rounds on Sunday, and it just like, how it's like, dang it. And it just hit you, right? I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, of course I got a piece of butt team. And I'm looking, I'm like, course, loaded up on pitchers. So the exact opposite of my draft method, which is to take 8 hitters off the top, then 2 closers, then maybe 2 more hitters, and then starting pitchers. So I've got all these badass starting pitchers that I don't even want. I've got an offense I've got to completely recreate, and it's a buzzkill. But I do like these projects, Brew, because this team is probably going to get off to a horse bleep start. And I'm just going to have to like rise and creep and work the hell out of the waiver wire and make the playoffs, and then maybe make the run.
That's actually really satisfying. A bunch of my teams that are currently in contention for a championship right now started off so bad, and it's so tempting to just be like, and I'd never write it off, but like
me either,
but like mentally, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna let go. No, I'm not gonna let go. I'm gonna scratch and claw and scratch and claw and scratch and claw. And when you do that and you get to the top and you actually win, those are my favorite championships ever. I'd take that over a boat race where I'm 10 roto points ahead all season long. It's those ones are the greatest.
Guys, they have a thing on Yahoo called your Yahoo rating. I'm obsessed with mine. Okay, I don't take anything for granted. Brew, if I'm in a 5th place game, I'm making pickups, probably pissing off the people who are actually still in it. But if the league allows me to make pickups and win, I'm going to do it. I won a 5th place game last week in a cash league. I lost it in the quarters, and then it's a nothing game, right? No,
and then you mentioned it here today.
I'm not giving you I'm not just taking an L here. It's one more week of setting lineups, and I got to go get that dub, man. So the Yahoo rating thing, I think, is absolutely awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. So it's about maintaining that rating. All right, Brew. So we are out, guys. I want to remind you that I will be back on midnight tonight with Dr. A. All right, check us out. And a couple of reminders here. Subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe to the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Please retweet our work on your timelines. We'd really appreciate that. And go to sportsethos.com and peruse all that we offer you over there as well. Me and Doc back here at midnight. For Aaron Bruski and for our producer, Andre Lemouche, I'm Rick Kamla. Thank you for watching the Fantasy NBA Today. This episode's been brought to you by Bet Online.